new and old to this channel. Now, Goosebumps. It's kind of a cult classic now, but back in the day, it wasn't really known, only for its books. Now, I'll just kind of say this now. I've not watched the Goosebumps movies yet, and there are a couple other movies like Who Let the Ghost Out and The Haunting Hour that we will get to. There's also a separate series from Goosebumps, which is the R.L.Stine's Haunting Hour. I'll go over that as well. Also, if we have Goosebumps books out, I'll show them. I'm not going to go through the books, I'm going to go through the movies. There are exceptions though, such as Night of the Living Dummy 2. I'll go over the first book and just a little bit of backstory onto these books.
Now, the books have been out since basically forever, with Welcome to the Dead House that came out in June 1992 and still continuing to this day. And with the show actually starting on Fox Kids, or where I personally watched it on, Cartoon Network, starting in May of 1996 and ending of November 1998.
So, let's take a gander at the first one, which is a two-part series, which they do a lot, The Haunted Mask.
We open up to
Stine R.L.
He basically ruins the show by telling the whole story and how it ends. Like, the hell, R.L.Stine? Also giving us the catchphrase of the show.
Viewers beware, you're in for a scare.
Also, this is before the iconic theme song, so, in retrospect, Stine R.L. episode for us, so I won't do that to you. But you'll thank me later.
Two girls, Carly, Beth, and Sabrina, find a novelty shop that seems to be selling masks just in time for Halloween as Carly Beth is pulled away by Sabrina with evil Mr. Clean watching. They then go to get pumpkins as it's dark out. Like past bedtime dark out. As Carly Beth goes to grab a pumpkin and a hand gets her. No, actually, this cruel prank is pulled by two boys, Steve and Chuck, who scare her and that pisses her off as she leaves with Sabrina trying to stop her. Carly Beth asks why they pick on her when Sabrina tells her that she's easily scared. Yes, because getting an octopus thrown in them or stalked all the way to the pumpkin patch is something not to be freaked out about. Thanks, Sabrina. She goes home as Sabrina has this smartass remark.
You didn't get your pumpkin.
Yeah, I just got the shit scared out of me and my first thought was to get a fucking pumpkin. What the hell is wrong with you? And also, it's evil Mr. Clean.
Carly Beth gets home and her mom shows her the bust of her head she made. Thanks. I mean, whatever floats your boat. As Carly Beth again lets her imagination get the better of her, saying it smiled when it actually didn't. Also, her mom made her a duck costume. Oh God, I hope not. That's her brother Noah, as we cut to the next day where Carly Beth is scared again by a talking pumpkin. What makes it even worse is that a worm is put into her sandwich and that humiliates her.
There's being a prankster, then there's being an ass. There's being a prankster and an ass for Halloween. Then there's just being a jackass. You're in jackass territory.
She comes home crying and rips the duck costume that her mom made. Like the costume didn't do anything to you, what the hell? And it's more like a chicken costume. So with some cash, she goes off to the novelty shop to buy a scary mask. Evil Mr. Clean tells her that he's closed, but gets a phone call as he tells her to go pick something on the wall, and we also see a mask of R.L.Stine. Nice. As she goes to a part of the store that's like a drug dealer's place, finding a roll of masks as we get this creepy shot.
No!
Evil Mr. Clean finds her inside, even though he should have seen her because the door is like literally across from him and he looks that way as she goes in. Whatever, dude. The CGI mask gets startled as well as some shift, and I thought that was funny even though it hadn't aged well here. He molests the mask, telling Carly Beth that they weren't meant for sale. She's like, why? And he's like, because they're too frightening. And she's like, why? And he says, you're not, and then she runs off with one. She puts on the mask scaring her brother Noah, as when he asks her to take it off, seems like she can't, until she has to rip it off her.
For those of you who don't know or have never really read the book or have seen this episode in particular, the mask basically, if you wear it a certain amount of time or multiple times, begins to attach itself onto your skin. So what does that mean? It could potentially stay on there forever. I say this because near the end, it's not really clear, and I'll show you why, but I just have to reiterate that that's what happens.
She puts on the mask as she leaves for Sabrina's, as well as we see it attach it more to her head as she heads out. head. But before that, let's take the bus Mom said was breakable and put it on a stick and bring it to the party.
Don't we all do something like that? I mean, Ree over here has been kind of just stuck to the wall. She's not duct taped or anything. She's just kind of stuck to the wall. I mean, I kind of wanted to show, like, hey, she can stay. The wall. But I mean, She didn't really do much, so, I mean. There she goes.
She sees Chuck and Steve and decides to scare them, but as it turns out, it's not them and scares some poor kids. When they be inside, it's a party. Wait, actually, it's not a party. Apparently, we're just going trick-or-treating, but they said it was a party. Sabrina comes out looking like whatever she's supposed to look like.
I know it's a cat costume, but it looks like a rat that was thrown into the dryer.
Sabrina tells her to take it off because it's too scary and feels like real skin, and I don't know what this is.
It's not that funny, Carly Beth. It's a little sick.
Bitch, you've not only made me eat a worm, you've bullied me, and you made me cry a lot, so I have the right to kind of prank you guys. Oh, also, I forgot that you stalked me.
So they go to a house where Carly Beth scares a family, and the mom threatens to call the police. Kinda her fault for not letting her kids trick or and have them still be up whenever people are gonna knock on the door with scary or cute costumes. Or sexy, but that's after midnight. Sabrina wants to go back to her place because Carly Beth's being weird and she says the mask made her do it. She tells her to forget about it and she still wants to scare people.
Is that why you never talk? Is it because it's not October? Hush, Ray, back to the episode. Oh, you made a nice landing. Hell yes.
We cut to Chuck and Steve at the cemetery. Why, I have no clue, but we cut to Carly Beth scaring the poor neighborhood kids and finds Chuck and Steve in the cemetery. She scares them by telling them that the fake bus is the real Carly Beth that was killed by the mask. She tells them to apologize as Steve admits that they did the things that they did to her was because that they liked her. She doesn't budge as this horrifying thing happens.
Carly Beth, I'm sorry. Sorry again.
Help me.
Talked.
She drops it as she calls for help, with Steve and Chuck running away. Carly Beth laughs away as the bus head is buried. She runs back to the neighborhood as Sabrina finds her, and they go inside where Carly Beth can't take the mask off. And the mask has now attached itself to her with no place to end where the mask should have been. She runs over to the novelty shop as evil Mr. Clean welcomes her back, saying he can't remove the mask because it isn't a mask but an actual person's face, and it's turned ugly after decaying, becoming the unloved ones. But we're found with love from Carly Beth, and now it will be attached to her face forever. She breaks down as evil Mr. Clean thinks of a way that maybe get it off with the power of love. We get a little backstory on evil Mr. Clean as he had never felt loved himself and made them in order to hide in a better face, but his terrible thoughts made them rot away and are doing that where he is now. The masks all come to life as she runs away to the cemetery and the other mask caught on her trail as she digs the bust of herself, making the mask flee as she swings it around. She's able to take the mask off as she finds out evil Mr. Clean meant the symbol of love, which her mom made the bust of her because it's her daughter and she loves her daughter. And she goes home where the brother puts on the mask as we get the last message from our boy R.L.Stine, L.R., who asks his shocked parents about the episode.
Mom? Dad? What did you think? I think they liked it.
So since technically the first one is over, let's get on to our second and last one of this episode. And that is the Cuckoo Clock of Doom. No.
We open up to a kid, Michael, who finds a mysterious pool of what looked like to be blood, only to be scared by his bratty sister, Tara. And I'm not going to ask where the blood came from, cause...
Can I make edgy jokes? I mean, she was in Mean Girls, so she's old enough.
What's your problem, Tara? What have I ever done to you?
Well, since there's fake blood here, and there's 3 of you, come here, you little shit.
Michael is blamed for the mess as we get a flashback where this had happened previously at Michael's 12th birthday party, where Tara was pestering him and not only that, but grabbed his leg as he was carrying the cake, making him fall into it.
Yeah, so about 6 kids just witnessed her do this stunt, and she got not even a lick of trouble. Not even. Like, for real, if this was really accurate and this happened, me and my sister would throw hands because we ain't gonna have that shit here. None of us are taking that sitting down.
His flashback is interrupted as the dad brings in a giant clock, as it's surprisingly magical, with the story being a strange old man made it over 100 years ago, putting a spell on it, and whoever finds the spell must beware. Of what? I don't know, but the years on the side must mean something, right? So Michael decides to go downstairs as the cuckoo bird comes out at midnight. Michael twists its head around and trying to find Tara. As it turns out, he went back in time to his birthday party. that was 3 days prior. Thanks, Tara. Everything seems to be like it was in his flashback, with his friends laughing at Tara, making fun of him and his crush, as well as being tricked by Tara and the cake landing on his face. Michael tries to tell his parents that he's stuck in a time loop, as of course, they don't believe him. He goes downstairs to where the clock was, screams, then this. He screams himself awake as his mom comes in, and where the room looks kind of different. As it turns out, Michael is now 6 years old.
What's wrong, little buddy?
He goes to find Tara as she doesn't exist yet because previously he was 12 and now he's 6. You do the math. He also figures out that he's going to continue going backwards. And if this continues on further, he may no longer exist. And he also figures out that time is going backwards because of the cuckoo clock head being backwards. He tries telling everyone at the party as they don't seem to believe him as he decides to find the antique store where the clock may be.
You got the time?
Michael finds the clock. As luck would have it, it's closed for vacation. His dad finds him, even though he told his friends be an antique store. Maybe there were more than one he was talking about, and that's why he dragged back to the party where he's told to go to sleep. And surprise, he's a toddler, and mom has a shitty wig.
Hey, what's with my little man?
Why does the dad kind of look like Tim Allen from Home Improvement? Wait, do you guys know what Home Improvement even is? Cinema to a Man? Not ringing a bell? Does anyone know who Tim Allen is? I'm just fucking old. That's how old I am.
They make it to the antique store as Michael reaches the clock as he accidentally knocks over the number 88 off. The bird comes out as he reaches the 12 o'clock as the parents finally realize he's out of his stroller, and as Michael turns the bird head around, it's brought back to the present.
But keep your hands off my cuckoo.
But as luck would have it, Tara doesn't exist. And why is that? Because he knocked off the 88, and that's the year Tara was born, which he doesn't seem to mind too much. I wouldn't either.
But I do gotta ask one person something. Danielle, if I took the year 2002 off this cuckoo clock and you never existed, how pissed would you be? So that's what I have, folks, and here's some of my thoughts. The first episode actually is pretty done very well, especially in the makeup. A lot of the characters are, just kind of doing whatever they can, but it actually does work out very well for how they are portraying this. And I think many people can see that this kind of little topic on a mask that you can't take off and you'll be ugly forever, especially nowadays, holds itself up really well. I mean, the CG, it's old. What are you gonna expect? It is old. It's from like the 90s. What does anyone expect? But honestly, I can get past that because we got more episodes to do, kitties. Yes, like I said, 3, because technically first 2 episodes are side by side, and then we got just the main Cuckoo Clock of Doom. So, with that being said, I'll see you next time when someone's crying monster.